So I have Baphomet.
Not Bahamut. That's a very different thing.
Baphomet. Baphomet. I will learn how to pronounce this. This is a demon lord, and it's not just a light demon lord. This is one of the big, scary, huge fiend demons, chaotic evil. This demon lord has been around since the origins of D&D, from the original era. In 5th edition, he's super scary, like maybe unkillable. So to start off with, for those of you who like to know about challenge ratings, this guy's worth 50,000 experience, aka challenge rating 23. So here in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, on page 142, they give you some background on Baphomet. They give you some physical descriptions. They talk about the lair. Baphomet's lair is his palace, the Lycteon, which is on the layer of the abyss called the Endless Maze.
He has very Minotaur features.
Yeah, so like, I don't know why anyone would go there, but let's say that you were put there by some bad interaction with somebody who could put you there. Now you're in a labyrinth full of Minotaurs, Goristros, and Quasits. So if you happen to survive and make it through all that, Baphomet has lair actions, which very powerful things have this special feature, lair actions. So on initiative count 20, just basically almost automatically winning initiative unless somebody has a really high initiative roll, he can take a lair action to cause one of the following magical effects. Seals a doorway or other entrance within the lair. The opening must be unoccupied. It's filled with solid stone for a minute. Or choose a room within the lair that's no larger in any dimension than 100 feet. That's enormous.
In any dimension.
In any
so that's
dimension.
not 100 square feet.
Nope.
That's 100 by 100 by 100.
Gravity is reversed. Okay. And then cast... This is the one I had to look up. The other lair action is Baphomet casts Mirage Arcane, affecting a room within the lair that is no larger in any dimension than 100 feet. The effect ends on the next initiative, count 20. I had to look this up in the player's handbook because it's on page 260. Mirage Arcane is a 7th level illusion spell that lasts 10 minutes. Sorry, it takes 10 minutes to cast normally. He could just do
As
it.
a layer action.
Yep. Duration of 10 days normally, but this lens, So you make terrain in any area look, sound, smell, and even feel like some other sort of terrain. Like, you can read the whole thing. It's on page 260 of the player's handbook. It's a crazy powerful spell. You can alter the appearance of structures or add them where none are present. The illusion includes audible, visual, tactile, and olfactory elements, so it can turn clear ground into difficult terrain or otherwise impede movement.
Can it cause harm?
Creatures with true sight can see through the illusion. However, all other elements of the illusion remain, so while the creature is aware of the illusion's presence, the creature can still physically interact with the illusion. So you might be able to see that that's not tangled thorns, but you still have to move through difficult terrain.
Yeah, here's my question. It's like, if Baphomet makes the Mirage Arcana like, oh, the floor is lava.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
do you die immediately? Like,
So then there's regional effects. So the region containing the lair is warped by his magic. Plant life within a mile grows thick and forms walls. Beasts within a mile become frightened and disoriented. Humanoid spends at least 1 hour within the mile. He must succeed on a DC 18 wisdom saving throw or descend into madness. And then here, conveniently on page 143, is a chart that explains the madness
of Baphomet.
Yes.
Specifically from the rest of the madness.
This flaw lasts until it's cured by curing madness. I don't know what that spell is, but yeah. And by the way,
listed
people...
in the Dungeon Master's Guide.
Yes.
This table.
I just want to point out that that's all just lair, just being in the location. Okay, now let's get into the nitty-gritty. This dude has an armor class of 22, 275 hit points, a 40 speed, He has massive saving throws, damage resistance to cold, fire, and lightning, damage immunity to poison, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing that is non-magical, condition immunities to being charmed, exhausted, frightened, or poisoned, true sight of 120 feet, so good luck with that sneaking up invisibly, languages, all, telepathy, 120 feet. He can charge. If he charges and does a gore attack, you take an extra 3d10 piercing damage. And you have to make a DC 25 strength saving throw or be pushed up to 10 feet away and knocked prone. He has innate spellcasting abilities based on his charisma, which I'll point out is not huge, but it's still pretty good. Spell save of DC of 18. He can innately cast the following spells requiring no material components at will: Detect Magic, Dispel Magic, Dominate Beast, Hunter's Mark, Maze, Wall of Stone. Oh, and Teleport once a day. He has Labyrinthine Recall. He can perfectly recall any path he has traveled, and he's immune to the Maze spell. He has Legendary Resistance 3 times a day. If he fails a saving throw, he can just choose to succeed instead.
There's a lot of things with legendary resistance.
Yeah. Magic Resistance. He has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. Magic Weapons. His weapon attacks are considered magical. Reckless. At the start of his turn, he can gain advantage on all melee attack rolls during that turn, but attack rolls against him have advantage until the start of the next turn. Okay, so now his attacks. He has a multi-attack, 3 attacks, one with Hart Cleaver, that's his big scary blade, one with his bite, and one with his gore attack, 3 attacks per round. Hart Cleaver is plus 17 to hit. He's got 15 feet of reach. It's 2d10 plus 10. His bite is plus 17 to hit, 10-foot reach, and it does 2d8 plus 10. His gore is plus 17 to hit, 10-foot reach, 2d6 plus 10. So that's every round. Just He has Frightful Presence, so anyone within 120 feet of him have to make a DC 18 Wisdom save or become frightened for a minute, and all the disadvantages that provides. And then he has 3 legendary actions.
Per round.
Per round. Only 1 legendary option can be used at a time, and only 1 at the end. Wow. Heart Cleaver attack. Baphomet makes a melee attack with Heart Cleaver. On top of his normal attack. Oh, I see how that is. Wow.
Yeah, so legendary attacks only occur as reactions to, like, in response to someone else's turn.
So somebody actually has the
someone
bravery
else's turn,
to hit him. Yeah. He could just be like, no.
It's like dragons get these sometimes.
Yeah.
Often, like, anything above, like, a CR 12, that's considered, like, a boss kind of thing.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So he can also charge, which costs 2 of his actions. He moves up to his speed, then makes a gore attack. That's it. I mean, as if that was... Now, I didn't give an encounter, right? I just told you about this monster because I had to familiarize myself. So let's rewind a second. Clearly, this is a high-level party encounter, people. Don't put anybody like under level 10 into this. If you have a party in that 10 to 15 range and they're a big party and they're like experienced players,
or there's a lot of like min-maxing going on.
Yeah, maybe. Then I'll say maybe. This seems to me kind of like a 15 to 20 range thing. Okay, so say you've got this party. They have angered a very, very powerful archmage. And basically, throughout multiple parts of the campaign, they've thwarted this archmage one time after another. And now the archmage is just PO'd, right? And just needs them to not be around. So the archmage very craftily comes up with an enticing lure, a trick, basically, to have them go through a portal that is going to drop them into the middle of this maze, okay? So the portal has been consensually opened up. It's a one-way portal, right? So the archmage has made a deal with Baphomet that he's going to send this group of adventurers to Baphomet's maze because they have a bunch of really nice stuff, and he knows that Baphomet will have a fun time torturing these people and maybe even exploiting them and corrupting them and turning them into his minions. And in exchange, the Archmage is going to give Baphomet something as well, which is going to happen later on in the campaign. But it's basically an incentive where the Archmage is going to provide a bunch of innocent souls to Baphomet. So like an endless stream of entertainment to go through the maze. Okay, so they make this deal. The Archmage sets up the portal, and then using a series of lures to get the party to go through this dungeon, he conveys that the portal is actually the only way out of the dungeon. And then one of the NPCs who has been assisting the party for a long time now, who's actually a plant, like a deep cover agent from the Archmage, is the first one to go through the portal. So seeing that their friend has gone through the portal, they have no reason to doubt that this is in fact the best way out. So they go through the portal, they find themselves in the maze, they find themselves immediately surrounded by minotaurs. No idea that this is actually a much worse situation that they're in. They just assume that they're in some kind of blighted place. The minotaurs, they probably fight the minotaurs and succeed, but now they have to make their way out of another maze. Okay? And all the while not having any idea that all of this was set up by their arch nemesis, this Archmage who they've been fighting against for a long time. That's where that's going. So